time, my love, to run for your life. Time, my love, this ain't the time, my love, this ain't the time, my love, this ain't the time, my love.
Erik Laar, Tere Artust.
Tere, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It's amazing to be here with you in 918 Bathurst. I feel privileged. This is a concert for one.
It's an intimate show here. It's a pleasure to be here. So happy to
It's
be
just
here
me
tonight.
and you and whoever's watching at home. And I'm grateful that you're here to share your music. Your SoundCloud says big bad beats with a soft side.
Yes.
Tell me more about that. What drew you to the big bad beats, and why did you think it was important to sort of show your soft side in that context?
Yeah, beats have always been like a huge draw for me. DJing was always about like finding that perfect break beat and like then emphasizing the bass line and just the rhythmic aspect to it, right? There's a part I think of DJing where when you start incorporating a bit of a live performance into it, you're no longer just playing other people's music, but you're actually, creating on the fly yourself.
I read somewhere that you started, you played violin, you played piano, you started playing instruments, but at some point you found something, I guess, more organic in the turntables.
The turntable for me, yeah, was just the perfect marriage of kind of like, for me, music was always about breaking through boundaries, right? And the turntable offered that to me. It was like the instrument that was never supposed to really be an instrument. It was just supposed to be something that you played music on, right? Mm-hmm. And once I kind of discovered that and I got into just bass-driven music and beats in general, something changed in my mind. It was like a switch, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it took off from there.
But so in this project, you're using old vinyl records from Estonian archives, is that right?
Yeah, so on this recent project, which has been kind of a game changer for me as well, just in terms of my own kind of personal artistic journey. Yeah, straight up just kind of grabbing vinyls from the archives that they have here at the Vemu Archives, the Museum of Estonians Abroad, and it's just kind of flipping through and seeing what I could find and seeing how I can kind of incorporate that rich kind of history into kind of a more modern kind of thing that I'm doing, I guess, right? And there's a lot of emotion there, just speaking of vulnerability and expression and thinking about kind of your own personal journey and your path, you know, in terms of artistic, you know, whatever creativity, and in terms of just kind of finding yourself through music. This has been like a very interesting journey for me, just kind of touching base with my roots and incorporating it into what I do today.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, don't sell yourself short, because it feels to me like far deeper than an incorporation. It's almost like I can hear that conversation happening, because you're not only bringing it into the beats, but you're also singing back to those voices. Like,
yeah.
Tell me a bit about that. Like, why not just DJ? What compelled you to put the mic on stage and actually open up and sing?
Yeah, I mean, with this particular project in mind, I think, you know, if we're thinking about kind of someone's history and where they come from and their path, and especially if you're, you know, you may be born in Canada, but you might have immigrant parents. We all come to this place from different places, right? And I think it's really easy to sometimes forget about where it is that you came from, yet it never leaves you, right? It never leaves you alone. It's always kind of this voice in you. And I think sometimes we go around and we're actually looking for that answer in places, right? We're looking for some sort of confirmation of those feelings. And I think music for me has been that process where you're always kind of looking for, like, what is that thing that I need to get out of me? And when I started hearing some of these loops also, which is the funny thing, where it's just like, it's so loop-based, my music, right? And then these kind of regi laulu or setu laulu, they have like these, you know, chanting loops. And I was just like, not only emotionally, but also like technically fit perfectly with what I was doing, right? So something crazy about like hearing those ancestral voices and how it attaches to who you are these days, even though completely different time period, but it speaks to who you are in the moment today as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you set up the next song for us? What are some of the ancestral voices that you're drawing on? What are they saying to give some context to our audience?
Well, some of these songs are the blues of the Estonian people, you know, kind of like chants during the day when they're working in the field, or when they're doing things around the home or on the farm. And I guess, you know, in any cases of oppression or any experience of oppression, there has to be some sort of outlet. And song, in a lot of cases, in these kind of examples that I'm using, is that outlet. It's like that expression that comes out, right? So yeah.
All right, man, let's hear it. Let's hear some Estonian blues.
Go, man.
lot, man.
Those are the blues, man. Those are the blues, baby.
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you for that. The first time I saw you was actually not that long ago. It was at the Elmo, the like totally new refurbished Elmo, which is beautiful.
Beautiful,
by the way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you were there playing for Estonian Music Week.
That's right. Yeah.
Was it? So it was like I don't remember if it was a first time thing or a second time thing at Estonian Music Week, but it's a new like organization and festival that is sort of, I guess, geared towards bringing Estonian music both to a wider context in Canada, but also to the globe.
Totally. Yeah.
And the coolest thing about this showcase was that there was a bunch of artists from Toronto performing to a live audience here.
Yes.
Right? But then there was also artists in Tallinn in a club not too dissimilar from the Elmo.
True.
And you guys were trading off and you could see each other.
Yeah, wasn't that super cool, right? It was this kind of, strange experience where it's like, well, it was, funniest thing was the time difference, right? So number one, this show started at like, I think like 5 or 6 o'clock, some like random kind of like almost mid-afternoon hour, right? Which means it was like 1 o'clock there, right? So by the time the show kind of finished here, it was like 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning there.
Yeah, I remember seeing like a band over there, and the camera guys were panning to people sleeping on the side.
Yeah, totally.
Which was amazing. But you took it even a step further. I saw like on your social media channels that you were doing these like little micro mixes using music from that showcase from artists in Estonia.
Yeah, so there was a couple artists here. Esther was my first one, who's from Toronto, and Kylie Kinnan, who was on also one of the sort of quote unquote artist ambassadors for the Estonian Music Week. Mm-hmm. And then Duo Root, who was a really cool band that I discovered through Estonian Music Week just because they happened to be playing on the same night. And so I kind of reached out and I just wanted to do a bunch of little kind of playful remixes just to highlight the artists and also just kind of, shine some light on the festival, right? So,
who's an artist that you would absolutely you would love to collaborate with? Do you have, or is there a list of people that are just like, if I could just do a song with them or a remix for them?
Yeah, I think there's like these like, probably the ones that stick out are the sort of the childhood or earlier on the mentors that you grow up listening to, right? And they still kind of like they're these kind of like figures that you are in awe of, right? Even when you like grow up and you're like you still kind of and you're like you got your thing going and you're good at what you do, but still somehow those guys are like the ones, right? So DJ Shadow is this one guy who I've always kind of. But I don't think it would be like a great collaboration, to tell you the truth, because we do like similar shit, right? So
yeah, it's almost like the collaboration is about finding somebody who's so drastically different, which is what I loved about your collab or your remix of the song with Duo Root.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? These two women who are playing on a single traditional instrument and using their voices and percussive elements. It was just something really special about that.
Yeah, so exactly. For me, I've always kind of liked to stretch it that way, where trying to kind of incorporate something that you wouldn't expect with DJing and with the turntables, right? So my dream is to have an orchestra, not necessarily a full orchestra, but even like a 4-piece, and being able to kind of like have that incorporated. So it's like, imagine this stage except with like a violin and a cello and like, whatever, a viola and, just a bass, and have them kind of accompany what I'm doing.
I'm making notes, man. I'm
there you
making
go.
notes in my head. I'm going to hold it to you next time we call you here with the quartet.
There you go. I like it.
All right, man. So set up this next track. What are you going to hit us with the next unexpected track from Erik Laar?
into your lives as the world falls apart. My baby, I'll put your snowsuit on as if you were to keep you warm. Here's your gas mask, goggles too, so your eyes don't melt out when you look up into the sky and try to be a child in this world where we took too long to figure it out. Almost as long as it takes me to write a song, but nobody's dying in the meantime, and nobody's crying in the meantime. I see the trees turning green again. Will this be the last spring that we ever see? Roots rotting out, acid rain falling down. Run for the hills, let's get out of this town. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, I've got no time. I've got no
I believe you don't have time. You sound like you've been keeping very busy over the pandemic. Like, in addition to being a performer, you have a DJ school, right? You have your own sort of like venture with other multiple DJs teaching people how to do this. Did that, it feels like that might have picked up at that time. Is that the case? Or
Not exactly. Off-center DJ school, yeah, I started it, it's been around for almost 17 years now, which is, yeah, it's been my kind of passion other than music for a long period of time, and that also had a pretty hard stop. We were able to transition a little bit onto online, but it's not exactly the same as as in person. But luckily we've made it through nicely, and we're kind of back on track now, which is great. But yeah,
we were talking a little bit like earlier about how you want to get yourself over to Tallinn to play soon. What else is in the cards for you in the future?
Yeah, so combined with that, besides the 4-piece orchestra that we're going to do next time, there's going to be an EP kind of on this theme of what you've been hearing tonight. This is all stuff I haven't released. It's just been kind of like live things that I've been doing and inspired to do. So I'm going to lay it down and record something. And again, speaking of starting out fresh, I've had numerous projects in the past, but Erik Laar, strangely enough, it's like a new project for me, right? So previously I'd have different monikers, again, kind of maybe hiding behind DJ names, you know, or hiding in different ways, or just, expressing myself differently, let's put it that way, not necessarily a negative thing, right? But this will be like a debut EP, essentially, so I get to kind of start again. 20 years into the career, I get to start again, man, so.
20 years later, you're yourself.
Yeah, hey, man, good things take time, man, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for being here with us at BLOK.
Absolute pleasure, man. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah.
Carry me out, man. I'm enjoying the show right now.
So this is in true Estonian fashion, a Scandinavian tradition is the sauna, right? This is very important. So this is an ode to the sauna through my own lens, all right?
I'm feeling the heat.
All right, baby.